Hey everybody, it's Shaman Sister Sin, and you're listening to the Meditations and More podcast brought to you by shamanspiritcenter.com and littleshaman.org. That's me, Little Shaman. Today I wanted to talk to you about enforcing your boundaries with narcissistic and otherwise toxic people. This can come in handy, especially around the holidays, but it's good information to have all the time, so I thought we could discuss it on the show today. If you have lived with a narcissist or otherwise dealt with one in close proximity, then you know that they don't like boundaries. They find them threatening and limiting. Boundaries are often perceived by narcissists as ultimatums and manipulation. To that end, they will often accuse people setting boundaries of attacking, manipulating, controlling, or hurting them. They will attempt to downplay, ignore, and forget when boundaries have been set, and will often rage when they are enforced. All of this can be a lot to stand up against. That's the biggest reason you need to do it. The holidays are a tough time for people dealing with narcissists. Often the narcissistic person cranks up the hoovering, using guilt and other manipulative tactics to get people to weaken their boundaries. For those who don't know, hoovering is what it's called when narcissistic people turn on the charm or the self-pity or the future faking, trying to suck people back into the situation again. They may complain that they have no one to spend the holidays with, that everyone has abandoned them. They may say it's your duty as family, or they may simply show up at family gatherings hoping that no one wants to spoil the atmosphere by asking them to leave and potentially causing a problem. And that is par for the course with most narcissistic people. The problem is never what they've done. The problem is you pointing out what they've done. It can be difficult to stand firm in the face of that, but it's very important that you do so. So many times we betray ourselves because we believe others' needs are more important or that we're strong enough to take it and they're not. But this is a toxic mindset. Other people's needs are not more important than yours, and it doesn't matter who's stronger. It's not your responsibility to make life easier for other people to handle, nor is it your responsibility to sacrifice yourself so that someone else can have what they want. There's never a reason to put up with abuse or to betray yourself in that way. Keeping your boundaries firm is one way to make sure that does not happen. Narcissistic people work hard at making others believe that their needs are the only ones that matter. This appears to be pretty sincere. In other words, they're not just saying that, they really believe that. They also seem to truly believe that other people are responsible for them, their reactions, and their feelings. This is very similar to the way that children view things, in fact. Adult narcissists seem to believe that everyone else is responsible for their feelings and their reactions and that others are controlling them through these things. They view boundaries as attempts at controlling them, and they usually react pretty poorly to that. Again, this is like a very small child. For example, if you say to a narcissist, "I don't appreciate the way that you're speaking to me, and if you continue, I'm ending this conversation." That will often turn into a tirade about how you don't control them and you don't tell them what to do, or everything is always fine as long as they don't speak out of turn, or you just don't want to hear the truth, and all kinds of things like that. The thing for you to remember is that you're not trying to control them or do anything to them at all. If they want to talk to people like that, that's their choice. You are controlling whether or not you participate in conversations where someone speaks to you in a way that you don't appreciate. If they want to talk to someone like that, let them find somebody who's okay with it. Stick to your boundary, enforce it, and end the conversation if that's what you said you were going to do. This is the difference between boundaries and ultimatums. Ultimatums are about controlling and manipulating other people. Boundaries are about what you will allow in your life. Pathologically narcissistic people sometimes call boundaries ultimatums, but this is likely because they consider everything that gets in their way and attempt to control them, and they don't understand the difference between these things anyway. Because they're singularly focused on what they want, all they're hearing is, "You have to do what I say to get what you want," and that is the very definition of an ultimatum. Indeed, they will often reframe boundary enforcement to make it sound like that's exactly what you're saying. You have to ignore these attempts at emotional manipulation and trust yourself that you're doing what's right for you. You're either in control of yourself and your life or you're not. If you are, then whatever anyone thinks of your decisions is incidental. It's not their life, not their feelings, not their choice. It's yours. It's important to trust yourself in these situations. You know what's right, and more importantly, you know what feels wrong. Trust that and show up for yourself. Be an advocate for yourself. Don't be afraid to say, "No, thank you." Don't be afraid to say, "Thanks for inviting me, but I'm not coming." Don't be afraid to block, mute, ignore, or walk away. No one has to agree with your decisions, and it's not your job to make people feel better about them. In that same vein, you don't have to agree with other people's decisions either, and your feelings about their decision are your responsibility. As long as you're being clear, honest, and genuine, as long as you are taking accountability for your actions and saying, yes, this is my choice and I'm making it for my own reasons, that's all you need to do. You don't need to justify, argue, defend, or explain your choices. You can if you like, but remember that you don't have to, whether other people like that or not. The truth is, validation from other people is nice, but you don't need it. You know what happened, you know how you feel, you know what you will deal with, and you have the absolute right to act accordingly, period. Another super important aspect of boundaries that we need to touch on is that they're not just about saying no to other people. Boundaries are also about saying no to yourself too. When narcissists hoover somebody, it only works if that person allows it to work. It only works if somebody gives in. It's important to understand your own motives in these situations and your feelings so that you don't end up making an emotional decision rather than a rational one. Your head can get confused. Your heart can get confused. Your gut never does. It knows when something is wrong. Trust it and create your boundaries accordingly. It's not anyone else's job to make your choices or your decisions for you or to figure out the risks of these decisions. That's up to you. One of the ways you can learn to trust yourself is by making sure that you're making decisions in your own best interest. Boundaries are one of the biggest ways that you can show up for yourself. Enforcing them is one of the most powerful ways that you can drive the point home to yourself and to other people that you understand your own value. It can be scary and it can be uncomfortable, but it also feels really, really good to show up for yourself and assert your worth. It feels good not to betray yourself. It feels good to state and reiterate that you are worth more, that you deserve better. You just need to believe that and you need to act on it. I hope that clears a few things up for you. As always, I look forward to your comments, questions, and suggestions, so please keep those coming. I take appointments online, over the phone, via text, via messenger, and via email, and also on Skype. So if you're interested in speaking with me one-on-one, you can visit littleshaman.org to go ahead and do that. Click the Book an Appointment tab. You've been listening to the Meditations and More podcast brought to you by shamanspiritcenter.com and littleshaman.org. That's me, Little Shaman. May the Great Spirit bless you and have a wonderful day.